right, welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today's topic is what everyone has been asking me, my community, my clients, everyone is about show recap. I didn't do an episode on the show. I made a post, but I've been pretty quiet about it. But everyone that, obviously watches this, that I talk to on a daily basis, weekly basis, whatever it may be, part of my community, clients, things like that, you already kind of know how I feel for the most part, But I want to just talk about the principle, or not say the principle, but like the main context of what I got out of prep. And the topic of the episode related to me talking about prep in my show day is, you don't always get what you want, but you always get what you need. Now, show day went phenomenal. Prep went phenomenal. Like, this was probably the best prep of my absolute fucking life. I even went on a 10-day vacation to Miami and the Bahamas on a cruise, like at 8 weeks out or 9 weeks out. Like, I was dialed in, and I always knew I was going to do this show since the second I stepped off stage last time. And for people that don't know, the last show I did was May 25th, 2023. And then 2 years to the date essentially is May 30th, 2026. So I took 2 full years off to build and prepare for this show and took all the feedback from my last show. And I completely blew my expectations out of the water. Now, obviously, there's a lot of disappointment I have from the show, and I'll talk about that in a second. But from a preparation standpoint, training standpoint, nutrition protocols, putting myself in a position to really see so many of my micro detailed decisions for the last 3, 4, 5 years come to fruition, gave me so much validation, self-assurance, confidence, conviction in my goals and my processes, and even my client Serge that ended up doing the show with me. Same thing, his protocols, everything leading up from the show before he got into the prep off season, blew my expectations. And again, it gave me a lot of confidence, reassurance as to I know what I'm capable of for myself and what I can help with my clients. And I've helped other people get to stage as well, like Lionel and Candace helped you guys get to the stage as well. But this prep here, like taking all of that feedback, putting it into one channel and just like really getting that experience, blew my expectations. Like, I've got so much more knowledge for like everything, single fucking thing. And now getting into my off season, preparing for my another show, because I believe I'm going to do nationals. It's 17 weeks out. It's October 1st or October 2nd. We have me and Emma and a couple people have a lot of stuff going on, so it's like I don't really know exactly the dates, but I know I am going to do a national show within the next 6 to 8 months for sure. My biggest thing is I want to make sure the next time I step on stage, I get exactly what I want out of it. So the disappointment part came from a little bit of the peak week and the political side of the show. I'll talk about the political side in a bit because that's really out of my control, and I don't want to be too controversial, but again, it's my podcast, it's my opinion, and I'm entitled to that. Do you know what I mean? But outside of the political side, 2 things I know for a fact that I got to do better with is, number one is I know I can peak a lot better. Me and Rowan had a great system. Rowan's my coach that I used for this show, and I always believe having a coach for your preparation and actual like prep for your show is heavy. Everyone needs that. In your off season, things like that, depending on how dialed in you are. Like me personally, I'm dialed in, so my off season I don't need help. I already have like multiple people that help me with these things, and I've been doing this for a long time. So me and Rowan got into a good flow, good system. I think we prepped together for 14 or 16 weeks. Everything was phenomenal. I think the biggest thing next time is that me using what I understand and how I know my body can work with his feedback, I know we can ace my peak that much better. I believe the peak was a little bit, again, it was a different protocol than what I did before. So, again, it was just trial and error. So I do believe I could peak a lot better, meaning I could carb up better. I could be a little bit more leaner, drier, and just like peak on stage so my look looks a lot better. But that's like small, that's like pennies on the dollar. One thing that I know for a fact I dropped the ball on was my posing. Now, my last show that I did 2 years ago, I had a lot of pop with my posing, a lot of flow, and I could tell that I had lost a lot of that. I gained, like, to put in perspective, I was 160 pounds on stage 2 years ago. This time on stage was 180 pounds. So I gained literally gained 20 pounds of a solid muscle and mass over the last 2 years. And I've done that through just paying attention to every single protocol, getting my blood panels done, working with a naturopath, working with multiple different people to help me just get the most out of every single fucking day. And it all worked beautifully. But I let go of the standards for mobility and let go of the standards for posing. I just kind of assumed I looked the part and just let that go to my head a little bit, which is an egotistical thing. I was upset with myself for that, but it wasn't until I realized, like, I just let myself relax a little bit. I was confident what I was doing, and I brought that to the table, and I'm not going to ever beat myself up for that because it took me a lot of years to get in that position. Like, I wasn't even training chest or shoulders, I had a lot of injuries. Like, the fact that I'm even in this spot is a blessing. So once I checked my ego, it's like I just didn't do the work. You know, other people on stage, they had more confidence in their posing. You could tell by their face and their flow and their transition. So for me personally, that's just something I got to accept and eat. So those are the two things that I know going into my next prep that I'm going to absolutely fucking crush and make that big of a difference. Because I do believe, you know, for you guys that don't know, I came second. I came second 2 years ago as well. And, you know, I'm not mad at that. And I don't ever want to take away from anyone else that's competing, you know, because a lot of people compete and don't place at all. A lot of people are aiming for top 5, whatever it may be. But if I'm being completely honest and selfish for what I want, I expected to win at least my class and compete for overall. Now, the fact that I got second, obviously, like I said, it's not what I wanted, but I needed to get that second because this whole prep, I was very honest about it being very stress-free. And I'm not saying I needed to get punched in my face to carry stress or have a chip on my shoulder, but I needed, like, I guess, like a little bit of an ego check to just verify what I'm actually capable of. So when I had a mirror of myself not get what I wanted out of it, I was fucking pissed. I honestly was pissed. I was disappointed. I even didn't want to make a post about it. And this was my 6th show or 5th show, can't remember. But I remember there was one other show that happened where I was just, you know, I was addicted to drugs. I was partying. I wasn't taking it serious. And I was ashamed of what I looked like. I was ashamed of the package I brought to the stage. So I didn't post any of that. Anyone that tagged me, I untagged myself. I removed any of those photos. So you can't even really find those photos of me of that stage. So that's how I kind of felt, and I knew that wasn't accurate. I knew that wasn't real because of what I've done. Like, I was so proud of myself. I exceeded all my expectations, and everything that I put on paper that I said I was going to do, I did. You know, so the biggest thing for me was to realize, like, hey, why do I feel this way? You know what I mean? And once I dissected it, I was just disappointed with the politics, which I'll talk about next. But I was just realizing I didn't give myself as much credit as I deserved to, you know, take initiative for my peak. You know, which is again, a learning experience. And number 2 was, like, again, my posing. Like, I did my posing, I did my transitions and things like that, but I didn't have the confidence, I didn't have the pop, I didn't have, like, the swag, if you want to use that word, and I just didn't have that conviction when I was on stage. And when I review my posing, I just felt like I was stiff and I was boxing. It's because I gained so much more muscle, right? And I let go of the standards a little bit with my mobility and attention to detail with corrective exercises to make everything pop that much more. So those 2 variables going into the next prep is going to be fucking game changing, 100%. And when it comes to bodybuilding and peaking and getting on stage, all of those little fine details like that matter the fucking most, especially when you're near the end. When it comes to the politics, again, I'm not going to speak on it because I think it's a waste of time, but politics are everywhere, government, fucking any other sport, like, you know what I mean? But I do believe doing a local show was probably definitely against me because the people, to put in perspective, the coach, everyone that won overall was essentially from the same coaching team. Everyone that placed super high was from the same coaching team. The same coaching team won the Coaching of Excellence Award, and they sponsored the show. So I feel like it was just against me. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm excited to get feedback that's actually, like, you know, real versus just, you know, making things up in my brain, or like even everyone else was telling me that, like, I should have came first. So a lot of my head was just dissecting these emotions, right? But politically, I'm happy to know that I did everything I needed to do. And now the big thing now is the next show that I do is make sure that politics can't be involved in it because my look is that much more undeniable. But again, to go to the context of to talk about what I mean about, like, you know, not getting what I want is what I need, is because, like, everything in my life is amazing. You know what I mean? Like I really genuinely love every part of my life. Like, my business is great. My clients are great. My relationships with everyone in my life is great. Like, me and Emma are fucking great. Like, everything's fucking phenomenal. So I don't have very much adversity in life or stress in life to really kind of check my ego or check who I am as a person or put me in a position to really criticize myself. Like, I have so much control over my life that there's only a few people, like my coaches and then, like, you know, my business mentors and my business partners that can really check me in that regard. So for this prep to go that way and be so great, but also be so disappointed and so upset about the overall outcome, it really put me in a position where I had to, like, you know, really fucking figure it out. And it's been so long since I felt that way, and I'm happy that I did, because again, as much as I wanted to, you know, battle for overall and win overall, come in first place and all these things, I wouldn't have learned what I needed to learn. Do you know what I mean? And that's the whole blessing about this process and why I love bodybuilding and just any type of goal specific that's for you to go after, is because we always have an expectation in mind as to what we're going to get out of something. Even if it's like for schooling, we have an expectation what we're going to do for a job and a career and, like, you know, a PhD, master's, whatever it is. Even if we have expectations in our actions for, like, boundaries with relationships and all these things, like, we move towards those expectations of ourselves because that's the goalpost. You know what I mean? But along that journey, as you move forward and get closer, you grow, you develop, you become somebody else that's, you know, more elevated from who you are today, because each day you grow and you always get what you need. And that was something I haven't had happen to me in a long time, personally, especially fitness related. It's happened personally with relationships. It's happened personally with the business, clients, and things like that in the podcast. Because again, I have those mirrors. You know what I mean? So for me to get that information and know that I could be doing better, posing wise, I could be doing better, trusting my intuition and my experiences with nutrition and peaking in that regard, and trust my processes and utilizing and actually having the fucking, what's the right word? Not be lazy, I guess. Like actually embrace, that's a new affirmation I have, is like embrace everything. Is embrace the mobility stuff that I just neglected for last year. Embrace the stuff that I need to do for nutrition to get more out of it. You know what I mean? Embrace what I need to do to get better at posing, all these different things. If I didn't have this experience at this show, then I would have never like looked at it from that position. You know, let's say I won overall, I won first place, then it would have came too easy. You know what I mean? And that's honestly how I felt. Like maybe I let people's opinions of how good I looked and how prepared I was for the show go to my head, so I let off the gas. Whatever it may be, there's millions of stories I could tell myself as to what happened. But the facts are, I could have peaked better. Facts are, my posing could have been better. Facts are, my mobility and my attention to details like that leading up to the show could have been better. So that's the reflection that I got. Had I won the show, won overall, I think I would not be going into nationals with the same conviction and confidence and belief in myself, because I wouldn't have been punched in the face. And I would much rather be punched in the face at a local show than be punched in the face at a national show, because a national show is the one that matters the most. And I've never done one before. So I'm really happy that I got what I needed out of this show versus what I wanted, because now I can take that information and put it back into myself, and every single fucking day not miss a beat. And since then, I haven't missed a beat. And I've already grown in like an exceptional amount from that, because I'm making my reverse diet out of the show that much fucking more aggressive, making sure that every single rep set that I do in the gym is that much more aggressive. Every single bit of my nutrition that I'm tracking, I'm making sure it's that much more aggressive. And my boundaries and my standards as to my conviction of what I want to get out of life is that much more fucking aggression to it. And it's been a long time since I felt that aggression in terms of like, fuck you energy, I'm going to get this done. And kind of the relation to that is like with prep, I didn't have that. And it wasn't a bad thing, because again, I used to hold hate for a long time and it didn't serve me. But now I kind of have that fuck you energy without the hate. And it's just a me versus me, and I'm going to prove to myself that these little gaps I can bridge. And that's the blessing out of having a goal and then almost getting disappointed or shot in the foot, because you get what you need out of it. We never ever get what we want within reason. We always get what we need. And no matter how heavy that may feel, no matter how burned you may feel with that stuff, no matter what it does to you negatively, like there's a lot of positive avenues to that. There's a lot of abundance, a lot of self-love, self-validation, self-reassurance that you get out of those moments. And I think the biggest thing is like the takeaway for that is like, it's not just related to me and prep and going to do a show. It's any fucking fitness goal or any goal that you guys have in life. Like you could have a goal to be there for your family and provide, and you say this is what you want it to look like, but then next thing you know, it turns out to be something else. Whatever it turns out to be, is that's truly what you needed. Because again, let's say they're not reciprocating your energy, giving you the same time of energy and respect as you're giving them, then that's something you need to know, because you need to take a step back, protect your boundaries, protect your energy. Same thing with relationships. You know, you may know how you want a relationship to look and how to love and how to like be there for people and support people. But again, how they receive that and how they give that back to you is what you always need. Because again, same thing with like any other goal. Like we have ideas as to what we want to get out of everything. And then there's the facts that's there. The facts are always what we need, because that gives us the exact protocols of what we need to focus on. From a nutrition standpoint, a workout standpoint, you could say you deserve to lose weight or deserve to gain muscle, but if you look at the facts, your nutrition's being missed, your check-ins are being missed, and your workout protocols are being missed from all standpoints, that's what you need to hear. You're not doing as much as you need. And same with boundaries with relationships, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. Like if it's negative and you're not getting enough out of people around you, then that's what you need to realize, because guess what? They're not worth your time. That doesn't matter if it's your mom, dad, brother, or fucking associate that you work with every fucking second day. It's like, that's what you need to understand, because that's your growth path next, is protecting your boundaries, protecting your energy, and putting that energy back into yourself. And if it's a great thing and you realize, you know, people around you are supporting you, giving you a lot of energy, giving you a lot of love, texting you all the time, making sure you're good, and then, you know, really hearing and seeing you, and then you realize you're not giving up enough energy to those people, then that's a big punch to your face as well, because then again, you know what you need to focus on. And this could be bled into any goal you have, because again, we have an idea as to where we want to go every avenue of our life, but we never ever really get exactly what we want. And prime example, like with me with the online coaching business, I told myself I'd be a fucking millionaire within 4 or 5 years. And that's what I wanted. Did I get that? Not at all, but I always got what I needed to continue that growth, to continue that success. And the big thing with that and money is like, I realized even if I made $1 million, I wasn't mentally stable enough as a man to keep that there. So I always got what I needed in terms of the processes and the protocols of trying to grow and grind from a mental standpoint, which is why I'm so clear and confident as to who I am. You know what I mean? So I could go on about this one forever, but I think the biggest thing is like when you have a goal and you're fully convicted into it and you're showing the fuck up, it's not guaranteed to go to plan all the time. You know what I mean? And within that learning curve and within that processing and reflection period, there is a lot of fucking growth. If you want to sit there on the side and beat yourself up and be disappointed and say fuck you to everyone else, like cool, do that. That's not going to serve anyone, or not going to serve anyone, and definitely not going to serve yourself. But even if you can take any bit of ownership over it, like any bit of ownership over any of that, and find out what you can do better as a person for whatever situation you're going through, whatever goal or whatever idea you're climbing towards, then that's your stepping stone. That's where you got to move forward. The hard part of that is one, accepting that you feel defeated and disappointed and knowing how to manage that. The second part is really knowing what to do with those emotions. You know, for me, I was carrying them for a couple of days, and I know that was because of my own self thinking about them. But again, that reflection process is one of those things you just gotta let yourself go through, and it may take a couple of days, depending on how heavy the emotional state is of whatever you're working towards is. The longer it's gonna take for you to conceptualize what it is. So it may take a few days. Like for me with the show, compared to everything else in my life, it's pretty small. You know what I mean? So it took me 3 or 4 days to figure out what I needed. Now, if this was something bigger, maybe it would have taken me 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like I know there's some things that are going on where I'm processing some real deep stuff that I'm like, you know, actually starting therapy for and figuring out. That's taken me months to figure out, years to figure out. Do you know what I mean? So there's ups and downs and waves with all these things. But I can promise you that if you know you're giving it your all, and if you can remove your ego, remove your emotions, whatever the feedback is for whatever goals you're going towards, there's a lot of fucking growth and a lot of confidence within the lines of that. And to finish it off, if you want to focus on the negativity, you know, focus on the negativity and say, fuck everyone else, fuck all this stuff and blame everyone else around you, you know, you're right for doing that. You know what I mean? But if you also want to focus on the positivity side of things in terms of what you could do to be better for the next thing, whatever it may be, whatever actions, whatever identity you have to, change to get into, whatever it is you need to do to move forward, you're also right for doing that as well. So you're right with whichever route you want to go, but I'm pretty confident that, you know, the most positive, abundant way, longevity way to get the most out of what you need is looking at it for what you can control. If you focus on the non-controllables and all the variables that go against you because of it is what it is, like let's say I dwelled on the politics, I would literally mold my entire life into a position to say fuck those politics and prove them wrong. And me as a man, that gives me no substance. That doesn't align with my identity. That doesn't give me anything for me and my future and my business, my kids, or whatever the fuck I want to do in my life. So if I focus on what I need to do as a man and as a person in terms of my identity shifts to grow and understand what this feedback feels for me in these emotional things, that's going to benefit me forever. Because next goal that, you know, I feel relevant for, or the same relevant emotions for, the next thing that happens in my life where, you know, maybe I feel remotely the same or similar, I'm equipped with the right resources for myself to heal and grow through those things. And I think that's the biggest thing I want to give as a takeaway from the show, because everyone keeps asking, you know, the bodybuilding show, like the show is a very small part of it. The prep and the preparation and the off season and everything that goes into it is very personal for me. Like I just love the day-to-day, week-to-week progress and process of showing up for myself and having such high, incredible fucking standards and proving to myself I'm capable of those. The show and the placing is very, very small compared to the bigger picture of it. You know what I mean? Even with my clients in my community, it was insane, the support. It was insane, the level of inspiration my team got for me. And every week when I was doing my check-ins, like, you know, I'm doing check-ins with 50 fucking plus people every week, and you have all these people just so inspired and just so excited to see my success with that. Like, that's the biggest fucking win. You know what I mean? So if I'm focusing on the negatives, that's gonna bleed over here. I'm not gonna look at everyone that was supporting me. I'm not gonna look at what my capabilities are and what I've done for myself. I'm not gonna even hear my clients shouting me out and all these different things. And I'd much rather focus on the positivities. You know what I mean? So again, you don't necessarily always get what you want when you're going to be your best, when you're putting the best foot forward and your best intentions. But I can promise you always get what you need. And that's the fucking highlight of that, which is why I'm so grateful for this show. But other than that, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in as always. And if you guys ever need anything, obviously reach out. But other than that, keep leading from the front, setting those fucking standards, and let's fucking go.